Good evening, everybody. How are you? Sorry I wasn't here for the last couple of days. Trying to get back in the swing of things. Those of you who were around before probably remember I had a guy named Justin who shot these videos and did all the editing and all that. And Justin is great with all that. I am not so much. So I'm just kind of doing it from the phone and all that good stuff. I want to jump out and say, a lot of news out there. There's a lot of things coming out. There's a lot of positive things coming out. I mean, just in news articles like Shafak News and all those different things. You know, I was watching, came out maybe 30 minutes ago, the evening news with Mark Z. Now, I know a lot of people, we like to beat up on Mark. I know I personally do. You know, and let me just say this. Mark presents a lot of news. He flashes the news articles and he lets you read along. He shares the screen, and that's great. I think my biggest thing with Mark is more or less, you hear him, maybe he doesn't call it on a certain day, but he alludes that it's about to happen. You know what I mean? Oh, guys, this is our window. This is our window, you know, and God, I used to live and die off of Mark Z. Every week I would live and die off of Mark Z. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just, you know, I don't really have big problems with him. I think that Mark Z has 114,000 subscribers now because he knows what people want to hear. And he'll give you the information. He gives you this much real information, but then gives you the teaser to keep you coming back. You know what I mean? And there's other reasons to watch Mark Z other than just for this. You know what I mean? There is. I mean, he's obviously a smart guy. You know what I mean? But I just think that he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. You know, he was talking about Zimbabwe. This is one thing that I've said it before. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I don't know everything there is to know about this thing. But I do know this. He was talking about Zimbabwe lifting their currency controls and how, you know, they've done everything they can. They've asset backed the Zimbabwe dollar. They have, you know, done all these things to try to control, you know, the currency. And this is one way that they could fix the black market and get, you know, the black market trading of the Zimbabwe dollar under control, which was to lift the currency controls. But there's one thing that he said, and it really resonated with me and kind of bothers me a little bit, is this is what Kuwait did right before they revalued. So the issue that I have with that is what's going on with Iraq, Zimbabwe is not what happened in Kuwait. For so long, I think so many of us compared the Iraqi dinar to the Kuwaiti dinar and how the Kuwaiti dinar just overnight revalued and people got so rich, you know what I mean, with so little investment. And it's not the same. It's not the same because of the verbiage on why they were in their situations. Kuwait was invaded by Saddam. Banks, you know, the country was invaded. He was robbing and raping and pillaging throughout the entire country. Kuwait's oil production, just everything. So what the world did is they froze the currency and put it to an artificial rate. And then once Saddam was kicked out, they were managed to rebuild Kuwait, rebuild the infrastructure that was destroyed from the war, get the oil production back online, let the oil produce for said time, get everything back the way it was pre-Desert Storm. Then they hit the switch and took it from this rate back to where it was. You see, that's not the case with Iraq. That's not the case with Zimbabwe. Iraq's is the verbiage on why Iraq got put to 1170 to where it went from the Saddam dinar was because of all the things that went on and why Iraq went. You know, and I can't give you all that. I know it's here, but I don't know how to articulate it really. You know, it's all in the verbiage. It's everything has to do with verbiage in anything in life, right? In anything in life, it all has to do with the verbiage of why they are where they are. And Iraq and Kuwait, the verbiage is two different things. It's two different situations entirely. So, you know, when people say, well, you know, Iraq is way different than Kuwait, so Iraq is never going to do what Kuwait did. You're not going to wake up to a $3.44 or $3.22 dinar one day. It's not going to happen that way. Whether they bring it out and they allow it to float, they let the market dictate what the value of the money is and they just kind of watch it and let it float up to a value, or they come in and say, okay, we're going to go 10 cents on the dollar. Now we're going to let it float and let the markets dictate the value over time, with their policies and all that good stuff. Sorry, like I said, I'm not the smartest guy. I damn sure not militia man. Got to give it up to militia man. Militia man can talk, and he is brilliant. There's no doubt. I mean, but you watch a militia man video, and then by the end of it, you're like, the hell did he say? He said a lot. He talked for 30 minutes, and he had an article. But what the hell did he say? Don't understand. The guy's super intelligent, but I just don't understand it. Me and Pimpy were talking the other night. Me and Pimpy actually did a video together. It should be coming out on his site. I don't know when he'll get it edited and put up. But we were talking about Militia Man and all that good stuff. And we were talking about there are so many opportunities to invest in Iraq other than the dinar. And there's some more solid ways that you don't have to hope and dream and watch videos every day and get these highs and lows, these ebbs and flows in your emotional state. I know that investing, the number one rule of investing is don't be emotional, right? But how many of us out here work 9 to 5, 10, 12-hour shifts every day? How many of us are, some of us out here are robbing Peter to pay Paul just to get by. There's no extras in life for a lot of us out here. You know what I mean? Hell, look at the room I film in. Bicycles, all sorts of stuff. Everything that makes its way out of the house makes it into this room, But anyway, I don't know why I digress. But the point about it is there's, as me and Pimpy were talking, he told me, Carl, let me just tell you. Sorry, guys, camera's shaking. I'm beating on things. I get going. There are so many ways to make money in Iraq. And he said, I'm going to share some very solid ways for you to make money in Iraq. And you don't have to have tens of thousands of dollars to get started. And he said this before, but when he used to talk about it, you couldn't get into it. And that's the Iraqi Stock Exchange. I think he said there's like 37 companies there, and there's, it's very affordable to get in. You know how you buy like a block of shares? I think he said they come in boxes, like you get a box. Not really a box, but that's how they classify it. And you get a certain amount of shares at a certain amount of value. And basically you can get in and get your first block or box of shares for roughly $1,200. And then once you get those shares, if you want to buy more, then you can spend $100, $150 and get yourself a block of those shares and just keep adding them into your little box that you have. And then you can go around. I think there's like 37 companies. He was telling me about essentially the soda company there that is essentially their Coca-Cola, and how it's super cheap right now. It's just virtually getting started. Just imagine if you had 1,000 shares of Coca-Cola when Coca-Cola first hit the stock exchange, or Home Depot, or Delta, Nvidia, all these things, or Texas Oil, whatever. So on Pimpy's site, and you can email Pimpy, because Pimpy will respond to you in a heartbeat. And if I get it from him, I'll give it to you guys. But there's a place that you can go to, tell them, Pimpy sent you, and they will get you started. And now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, he's making money off of us. No, he's really not. I'm damn sure not. I don't make a dime. I'm strictly here to try to pass on what it is that I hear that sounds really logical and rational for all of us to make some money. Because I'm telling you, I'm not a guru. I'm not somebody that's going to come out here and give you the $1 million idea. I'm going to try to go seek a way to make $1 million. And if I find it, I'm going to share it with you, because again, I'm one of you guys. I'm just somebody who used to watch these videos all day, every day. I used to keep the phone in my ear while I'm working. You know what I mean? Listening to the next update, the next report, riding that wave, baby, riding that wave, waiting for the next Monday bank holiday, because I just knew it was going to be. I think I told y'all this before. I told my dad one time before, you know what? I'm going to go get a car title loan on my car, and I'm going to go buy 10 million dinar, because it's going to happen. If it don't happen this month, it's going to happen this year. I think that was back in 2015. That's how long we've been riding this thing and getting this good intel, supposedly. It's like this. Let's do it like this. Got a bank story for you guys. Got a bank story. It's not really a bank story, but it's a bank story. So my brother-in-law, he is a big shot for Sherwin-Williams. He was in Cleveland where their headquarters was this past weekend. And he was at a hotel. They went to the gym down there to get some cardio. I think it was like 6:30 in the morning. He said it was just him and this other guy in there. So it's just him and this guy. They're on the treadmill and he making small talk. He asked the guy, he's like, what do you do for a living? Because the guy had asked him first what he does. He said, I'm here on business. I work with Sherwin-Williams and I'm here home office for some corporate meetings. And he asked the guy, he said, well, what do you do? And he said, oh, I'm here. I'm with Chase Bank in their something department. So, Wendell, my brother-in-law, he's invested in Iraqi dinar pretty heavily, VND, all that good stuff, even has a couple of the Zims. And he just broke it down to the guy. He said, hey, man, I got a question for you. I'm invested in Iraqi dinar, and I'm sure you probably get a lot of guys ask you this all the time. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you think I'm crazy for being invested in the Iraqi dinar? And do you think anything will ever come of it? Guy said, absolutely, you're not crazy. He's like, look, I used to think that was just a scam, but I'll tell you this, it's on our radar, and there's a lot of momentum with it right now. He's like, I can't give you any rates or anything that I've seen recently because I haven't seen it, but I do know that we're involved in it, and it's supposed to be something really major, and there is a lot of big wigs in our company that are all over this. We have it's a big deal at Chase. And, we're doing a lot of stuff in Iraq that I'm not privy to, he told him, but we're all over Iraq with the investments and all that good stuff. And there's something big about to pop with this dinar, Guys, that's how easy it is to create a bank story. I just did it right there. If you're just jumping in, that's not true. That never happened. That conversation with my brother-in-law, he does work for Sherwin-Williams, but that conversation never happened. I'm just showing you how easy it is for these guys to create a bank story. I just did it right there. Top of my head. BS, 100%. So I'm not saying that some of these stories that they tell us aren't true, that didn't happen, but I think we all need to be very cautious about when we see them. When we get excited and we go out here and we start clicking the like buttons and things like that and really believing it. Do you know that there's people that have committed suicide behind this investment? Because they believed in it. They believed in the gurus and the information that they were watching. They believed in these people, and they would go out there and they would put their house up. Now I know that sounds stupid, but it happens. I know that sounds to you, a lot of guys out there and ladies, you're probably thinking, that is just insane. Who would do that? A lot of people. People have been divorced, lost their families. I get the messages, bunches of them. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. I will give my phone number. If you message in here and say, Carl, I really need to talk to you. What's your email? Your email is currencydinar@gmail. You can email me anytime, and I don't check them every day. I have a bunch of emails for work and stuff and personal, but I do check them, and I will respond to you. currencydinar@gmail.com. If you ask me for my phone number, I'll give it to you. There's plenty of people out there like, yeah, he will. I talk to Carl quite often. You know what I mean? Because I'm not untouchable. But there's so many people out there who have really, really gone off the deep end with this investment, and I can see why. I don't know if all you guys can see why, but I can see why. I mean, I found myself, like I said, wanting to pawn my car title back in 2015 because I just knew it was going to happen. And I didn't want to miss out on making as much money as I could. Now, thankfully enough, I have a very sensible father who was like, that's retarded. Don't do that. Be sensible about it. Whatever you can spend, but don't go into debt trying to do it, and don't not pay your debts because you did it. So, I take preference with Mark tonight. I digressed. I do that a lot. Please bear with me. But Zimbabwe and Kuwait are not the same. Have they made some of the same steps? Well, absolutely. Governments, they can make the same steps another government has done, but that doesn't mean their outcomes will be the same or that their intended goals are the same. Just because they've done it. Nobody wants Iraq to come out at 322 to the dollar more than me. Hell, nobody wants Iraq to come out at $10 plus more than me. Trust me. But guys, do you really think that's logical? Do you think that truly is logical? Take all your hopes, wishes, and dreams and prayers out of it. Does it sound logical? Could they support that? I don't know, guys. A lot of people are like, hell yeah, they can support that. Yeah, look at them. They got more oil than anybody. Could they truly support it? Come on. I doubt it. You know what I mean? But again, I don't know everything, but I don't see it. 10 dinar to $1? Come on, guys. I don't see that. You know what I mean? That's a long way off, and we're going to have to go down some more inflation. I would really love for the Vietnamese dong to come out at $3 and something. Could they do it? Maybe. I mean, that's not really way over the top as a $10 dinar. I mean, Vietnam is booming in all sectors. You know what I mean? Vietnam is strong. Do I think it'd be more like dollar for dollar? Probably. I think that makes more sense. A lot of people will tell you, no, that doesn't make sense, Carl. They're not going to be dollar for dollar. If anything, VND will come in at about 10 cents, maybe 30 tops. And that irritates me because I'd rather see it dollar for dollar, you know? Really want to see it higher, but I don't know. I hope and I pray that the good Lord will bring us very high rates. But again, I'm here because I try to be logical and rational and keep a level head and take all that hopium out of it for myself. And I try to pass that along to you guys, you know what I mean? I like to come on here and I like to call out bullshit, you know? And I guess I need to back up a little bit. I always talk about Frank 26, and I like to pick on Frank because Frank's an easy target for me. You know, Frank's a showman. If you look, Frank sings, he dances, he's snorting and hooting and hollering and, ooh, look at this. Ooh, you know what I mean? Ooh. So I like to me, that he's irritating to me in those things. A lot of people think it's cute and fun, and that's awesome. That's good if Frank's good for you. And I always give Frank a hard time. Frank probably never really ever gives a date or a solid rate. But what Frank does is, oh, what do you think that means? What do you think that means? What are they getting ready for, people? What are they getting ready for? You know, he does things like that. It's like, well, hell, I guess they're going to revalue it right now. Ooh, you know? So, I don't know. And then not to mention, in the past year, you know, when I was doing this show, I've had some of the moderators from Frank 26, and they're all like, ooh, don't use my name. Please don't use my name. I'm going to communicate with you because I think it's the right thing to do. You know, I mean, there's a few of us here. Please don't share our names. And if we tell you something, please don't put it out right away. And when you do put it out, kind of skew it a little bit. And that's hard to do. So sometimes, you know what I mean? If it sounds like just people being petty, wanting to just jab Frank because they're upset with him, I don't do it. You know what I mean? I remember I had Delta on here. If y'all remember Delta, we've talked about Delta. Delta's a super knowledgeable guy. Used to be with Frank. They were tight. They were really tight. Militia Man was with Frank. There's a bunch of people that were with Frank. And they all left. You know, Frank had his reasons why he said they left. But ultimately, I think he gave him like a $25,000 dinar or 25,000 dinar note. Like that was some sort of payment. And Frank's making like 10, 15 grand a month, if not more now. What is that? Rocky, get out of here. Sorry, dog's sniffing around. But I don't know. There's so many of these guys, you know, and then you get these computer-generated voices that are just regurgitating crap, especially if you watch a Twitter feed, you know, Dinar gurus and stuff. And they will make you think that it's happening today or tomorrow, and it's not, you know what I mean? But now let's talk more about the Iraqi stock exchange and all the promising things that is. Hey, stop, you're shaking the table, big guy. I know, go on. Sorry. But you remember a year or two ago, every time you heard about Iraq, there was still terrorism going on. There was still, you know, all these things about corruption you would hear in the news all the time. Now, of course, there's still corruption. There's still that, but it's not as prevalent as it once was. And I think that's huge. And if you look at Shafaq News, you can find 5, 6 different stories where Iraq is doing something to either break up a splinter cell, a terrorist splinter cell, or they've made arrests, or they've seized weapons from terrorist groups, or they're doing stuff with their money and in the government to pass laws for anti-terrorism. That is huge, because what it says is they're no longer on board with terrorism. They're no longer on board with that type of, belief system. They're coming around. They want more. They want better for the country and for the people. Now, there's still a certain segment of the population and a certain segment of the government that's probably still a little shady and seedy, if you will. But for the most part, I think things look promising. And for me, that means there's a good shot that foreign investment is going to continue to keep flooding into the country. And that's going to do nothing but bolster and pump these companies in Iraq that are on the Iraqi stock exchange. And then before you know it, you're going to start seeing mergers, more than likely, where European companies, American businesses will start buying up huge blocks of the stocks in these companies, trying to get that controlling interest and stuff like that. And you're just going to see these stocks just gradually rise, and then they're going to keep rising. And before you know it, they're going to be to the moon. And again, like we talked about, if you would have bought Coke stock back when Coke first hit the stock market, but if you got 1,000 shares, you'd be a multimillionaire today. So right now, if you can go out there and buy 1,000 shares of a few different companies and just keep continuing to build and build till you got 1,000 of all of them, I bet you in 5-10 years from now, if you don't do it in 5-10 years from now, you're going to be like, son of a bitch, we should have bought stock in Iraq. We're still waiting on this damn dinar to go. Another thing Pimpy's talked about, this is why I think that the Iraqi stock exchange is solid. For one, because it makes sense. I can see that. That's something I can see. I can visualize a dinar revaluation, but I don't quite understand it. You see, a lot of us don't know all those backroom deals and all the checklist for a currency to revalue and come out at a strong rate. What's the checklist? We're all guessing. For years, we thought once the HCL was passed, we'd get a new revaluation number. We'd get a new exchange rate. Hydrocarbon law, HCL, was always tied to the exchange rate for years. How many of you remember that? I don't think that's true, though. Hell, from what I heard the other day, they don't even go together. It has nothing to do with each other. But what I can understand is I can wrap my mind around this stock market thing. And where was I going? About the dinar. Pimpy, and I'm going to mutilate this and I'm going to screw it up. So all you guys need to really go to Pimpy's site and email him and get him to do it again. And I'm going to ask him to do another show. Like I said, we did one the other night. He hadn't put it up yet. Pimpy and his women. But anyway, don't get mad at me for that, buddy. I'm sorry. But if they go to a digital dinar, why would they redenominate and spend all that money to create new currency if they're just going to go to a digital dinar and get rid of fiat altogether there? Why would they do it? It doesn't make sense. It would be so expensive to do it. Now, they got lower denoms. A lot of you are like, they already got lower denoms, Carl. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't think it's that simple, guys. I think for them to do it and do it the way everybody intends or plans for it, they would have to create another currency, new security features, new watermarks. You know how much money it would take to do that just for them to go to a digital dinar, which is what they're saying they want to do. Why? For one, they can control the money. Two, it will help them in their efforts with corruption, crime, terrorism, all these different things. They would be able to eradicate all those serious things if they didn't have a fiat and it was all digital. And then if somebody's not paying their taxes or if somebody's corrupt, what do? They go in there, boop, hit a button. All your money's frozen. Now you can't commit crimes. You can't, you can't be a corrupt little shit because now you don't have no money. So yeah, that's what they're trying to get to. Now, Pimpy did say, if the people of Iraq don't like the idea of a digital, dinar, well, they're gonna riot. They're gonna raise hell. And when Iraqi people raise hell, they're not like the ones that want to stand out there with a sign. Hell no. They're coming out there with rocks. They're coming out there to light shit on fire. They're gonna flip the cars over. And they're gonna cause some destruction. And the people in the government and at the CBI, they don't want that. They don't want that one because when Iraq gets mad, shit blows up. They don't want that instability. You know what I mean? They're trending in the right direction and they want to keep that. So for us that are really hoping for the dinar to pop off and do something, well, we need to hope and pray that they don't do a digital dinar, from what I'm understanding, and that the Iraqi people stand up and say, no, we want to have physical dollars, dinars. We want to have a fiat, something we can hold, because, Iraqi citizens don't trust the banks. They're just learning really to start trusting politicians. They have no trust in the banks, and for good reason. So if they rise up and say, no, we want our dollar, well, then we got to hope that they don't just redenominate and lop the zeros or drop the zeros, because then your 25,000 notes will only be worth 25 bucks. And all this anticipation and waiting and all that will be no good. So if they do redenominate, then we got to hope and pray. Sorry. We got to hope and pray that they do a revalue the exchange rate, add to the exchange rate. Because if they don't do that, then it's all for naught. So to me not being the brightest guy in the whole world, but trying to be as sensible as I can, I think we all need to look at the Iraqi stock exchange. We need to look at things on that level. There's other plays in Iraq versus the dinar, and they're viable plays for us, guys. We don't have to be multimillionaires to get involved. You don't have to have tens of thousands of dollars to jump into this thing. I don't have it, but I'm getting into it, and I'm going to buy what I can buy every month. If it's only $100, it's only $100. If it's $300, $300. If it's $500, it's $500. Probably won't ever be more than $500, and that will probably only be a handful of times. But once you make that $1,170 or $1,150 or $1,200 initial investment to get your block of your said some odd shares, then you can keep adding to them. And if you want to get another one, until you get all 37 of the companies that are there, that's awesome. And if you have 15, 60, 100,000, drop it in there and get them. That's great. More power to you. But not everybody does. A lot of us don't have it. Coming up with $1,200 for some of us, that's a stretch, bro. Yeah. So there's ways of doing it, guys. And, I really want to come on here tonight, and I just want to blast the shit out of some of these guys on these things. I really want to blast them. I got a lot I want to say about them, and I'm going to be doing that. And I know a lot of you are like, oh my God, he's so negative. Carl, stop being negative. It's not about being negative, man. It's about just being sick and tired of hearing the same crap and someone telling it to you with a straight face, and getting paid for it. God, some of these guys got Patreons? For what? Why are you deserving of $10 a month? And then a lot of you that are paying them, why are you paying them $10 a month? Why? They got far more money than you do, probably. And they don't do crap but come on here and give you the news that you can go and find yourself. And then they tell you a little bit of bullshit, to keep you coming, to make you feel good. So when you log off that computer, you got hope. And you're like, yes, God, yes, I'm going to pay this house off. And man, a beach condo. And some of you are probably like, I'm going to get a Bentley. It's all it's for. You know what I mean? It's all it's for. I just showed you how easy it was to create a bank story. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? So I want to say thank you to all you guys for your comments. Man, I missed you guys too, and I'm so glad to be back with you, and I'm going to keep coming back with you. Please bear with me. I got to work it out with Justin. I'm also trying to create my own little, I don't want to call it a studio, but I'm going to get my own setup, my own little setup and stuff like that, and then I'm going to have him teach me how to do all the little editing and all that. Like the last picture from the other video I did the other night, God, when YouTube put it out, like the picture that you guys see when you come across it, I look crazy. I look psycho. I'm like, what is that? Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it. But anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful night. I will be back soon. Hopefully tomorrow. I will be back. And just so you guys know, some of my videos will probably be little short things from inside the truck because I might have read something and it just really pissed me off. And I just gotta let you know about it. Please keep me in the comments. Please, please, please. And if you don't mind, hit the like button, guys. If you like it, hit the like button. I don't want you to lie. If you feel like it, you can, but I don't want you to. Please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you hadn't already, guys. Please, please, please. Hit like and subscribe. If you have friends that are in this investment and don't know about me, please share my video. Send it to them. And then tell them, hit the like button and subscribe. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you soon. Currency with a Twist is out of here.